I don't know why this is, but for some reason, there are still many people who believe that having a budget means that you're struggling. But that is not the case. The reality is, a budget is really your game plan for winning with money. So it's not a sign that you're broke or cheap for that matter, but rather it's a tool that helps you live a more intentional life. So we're going to break it down and explain exactly why your budget is actually the path to financial stability. But before jumping in, if you're looking for a budget template that fits your lifestyle, CoPlenty has options that make it easy to manage your money, whether you're just starting out or you're looking for something a bit more advanced. So if you're interested, check the description for templates that you can download and start using today. First of all, you have to realize that a budget is about prioritizing and not limiting. The idea that a budget means that you have to cut all fun out of your life is probably one of the biggest misconceptions out there. Because in reality, it's about being smart with your money and choosing what matters the most to you. For example, if you love traveling, budgeting isn't telling you to never go on a vacation. Instead, it's letting you set aside money so you can travel guilt-free without draining your savings. So it's really about prioritizing what's important while keeping your finances healthy. And you can really think of it like meal planning. If you plan ahead, you can enjoy balanced, delicious meals all week without the stress of scrambling to figure out what's for dinner. And if we tie this back to budgeting, it's really the same thing because you're just planning how to spend your money ahead of time, so you're never left wondering if you can afford something at the end of the month. So don't treat your budget like a punishment, because if it feels too restrictive, that's only going to make you regret the process and give up. Realize too that you might not necessarily need more money, but you do need a plan. It's easy to say to ourselves, if I just made a little more money, my financial problems would be solved. But the truth is, earning more is not always going to be the magic fix that some people think it is. Because without any type of plan in place, more money often leads to more spending. This is why so many people who get raises or land high-paying jobs still find themselves living paycheck to paycheck. Even though they have more income, the money slips through their finger just as easily as before. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that a budget can really be the plan that helps everything fall into place, because you're forced to sit down, look at what you're earning, and then decide how best to use it. And once you start mapping out your money, you'll likely find areas where you're spending more than you need to, or where your priorities might need adjusting. So even if you're not making more, a solid plan can help you make the most of what you already have. And as mentioned earlier, another myth about budgeting is that it's only for people who are having trouble making ends meet. But I am a firm believer that budgeting will benefit just about everyone regardless of income level. And this might come as a surprise to some people, but there are some individuals who have plenty of disposable income who still follow a budget. And it's the budget that allows them to have this extra money. They understand that without any clear financial guidelines, anyone can fall into the trap of overspending. So whether you're making $30,000 a year or $300,000, having a budget keeps you grounded, and it can prevent your financial situation from spiraling out of control. Budgeting should be preventative and not reactive. So don't wait until you're already in financial trouble to think about creating one. Get ahead of the game now by tracking your spending and planning for the future while things are going well. Keep in mind too that budgets can give you freedom. At first glance, budgeting might seem like a restrictive practice, but ironically, it can actually give you more freedom. Because when you have a plan, you don't have to constantly worry about where your money is going or whether you can afford something. Since you've already allocated funds for your needs, your bills, and even your wants, this means you can spend your fun money guilt-free because it's already part of the plan. But on the other hand, without a budget, you might find that you're always nervously checking your bank account every time you go out to buy something because you're not sure if you've paid all your bills or if there's even enough left over for a treat. But when everything's laid out and you know exactly how much you have left over for shopping, for dining out, or maybe self-care, you're able to spend a little bit more freely, which can be liberating. Without a budget, it's also easy to feel like your money controls you, but with one, you can take back that control. And being in control can empower you in ways that you might not even realize. For example, you're less likely to make panic-driven choices, and if something unexpected comes up, you can easily pivot because you already know where you have room to move things around. And it's really this kind of financial awareness that leads to less stress and more financial confidence. But keep in mind too that you shouldn't just set a budget and forget it. Your financial situations and your goals, all of that can change over time. So it's so important that you revisit your budget on a regular basis and make adjustments. Because at the end of the day, you want to always remain in control, and keeping an updated budget can ensure that you do this. And one of the best things about budgeting is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. I've said this countless times, but your budget should really be a reflection of your life, your goals, and your priorities. So whether you're focusing on paying off debt, saving for a vacation, or building an emergency fund, You should tailor it to fit what matters most to you. And as far as different types of budget plans that you could use, there's really no one right method. So it's really about creating a plan that works for your situation. So don't copy someone else's budget expecting it to work for you. Because if you guys have different expenses and different incomes, you're gonna have different results. And to give you an example of what I mean, the 50-30-20 budget might work for your best friend because they're able to keep their needs within 50% of their take-home pay. And they might recommend this, but after running the numbers, you find that you're spending way more than 50% of your take-home pay on needs, in which case that budgeting plan is not going to work for you. So my point is, you really have to take time to understand your finances, your goals, and your priorities, and then create a budget that fits your lifestyle and not someone else's.